Markham gets written off as just another suburb, but today I'm changing that. Home prices, transit, and lifestyle, each one more important than the last. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I have some insider tips from living here in Markham that might just make or break your final decision. So like always, if we start ourselves in Toronto, I'll show you where Markham is on the map. It's just northeast, past North York, and here's Markham. So you have Richmond Hill just to the west, Stouffville to the north, and Scarborough to the south. The average detached home price in Markham right now is sitting at just under 1.5 million. And you can see you get these really large homes for that price range. We're looking at a street right now where this house has a 3-car garage. You can see how much nature is incorporated in Markham. Some of the most nature that you'll get of any city in the GTA. Another big 3-car garage, and this is pretty typical of what you see in Markham. You get these wider roads, and you get these really nice, generally a bit more modern houses, especially than areas like Toronto, where you're going to see 50, 100-year-old houses. In Markham, everything's typically within the last 30 or 40 years or so. And then if we look at some semi-detached options, those are sitting at just over 1.1 million. So you can get a nice wide lot, you can get a good sized garage, again, these nice streets and nice communities. So a nice option for just over $1 million as well. And then if we're looking at condos, the average condo price in Markham is sitting at just over $550,000 at the moment. And you're getting a mix of newer and older buildings typically. So you can see here something a bit newer. And you are definitely getting more space than you do in Toronto. And a lot of the condos are right off Highway 7 here, which is very convenient. We'll talk about that more in the transit section. But the Viva buses running throughout, a little teaser, are a great way to get around the city as well. Look at all these condos that have gone up over the last couple years, last 5 to 10 years. But there are also some older buildings if you want more space and a bit of a larger layout. And then on the higher end of things in Markham, we have the Angus Glen area. This is right near Angus Glen Golf Course, which has hosted the Canadian Open 3 times over the years. So it's a world-class golf course. So you do have this luxury area. The homes here can be anywhere from $2.5 million all the way up to $4 million. You do have some really large homes here, and it's a really beautiful area right next to the golf course. You can always kind of tell when you're in a bit of a richer area, and I'm sure you can see by the street and the way these homes are constructed, that's what this is here. I'll show you how close it is to the golf course. The street's called Angus Glen Boulevard, and then the golf course is just right here. So that's why this area is so expensive. And then if you want to talk about a bit more of a budget area, we're near Commerce Valley here, right off Highway 7. This is around where we were looking at some of the condos as well. And here the average townhome price is just over $800,000. So you can get into a nice townhouse community like we see here for just around that price point and still be very well connected to the rest of Markham. And again, there's a mix of these newer townhomes like we see here. It's a bit covered by trees, but these newer townhomes attached to the condo buildings, and these not old, but a bit older townhomes. These older townhomes, which will get you more space, but generally at a lower price per square foot. So those are the home prices, and I think it's actually a wider range on the top and bottom end than most people expect in Markham. But that's just the prices. How do you actually get around in the city? Well, that's coming up right now in the transit section. So if we're talking about transit, once again, we're at Highway 7 here, and this is the main street that runs all the way east and west through Markham. It goes all the way to Vaughan. But you can see that you have these dedicated bus lanes. These lanes here are dedicated bus lanes. And you also have these Viva terminals. So these are sheltered stops. They let you purchase tickets right from them. And then they do get you around Markham very easily, very conveniently. I lived in York Region and went to high school here as well. So the Viva is way better, in my opinion, than the buses we have in Toronto. because they have the dedicated lane. I also find the delays are way less frequent. That's a blue Viva bus right there. So yeah, it's just a great way to get around the city, pretty reasonable fare-wise, and a lot more reliable and less frequent delays than we have in Toronto. You also have these GO stations scattered throughout Markham, which are very convenient. So you have Unionville GO over here. And then right by Markville Mall, you have Centennial GO station. So these will get you all around the city and really all around the province. They'll get you, you know, from Unionville GO to downtown Toronto. You're looking at just about an hour trip, which is definitely a lot quicker than if you're trying to drive there in some cases. So the GO network is pretty extensive in Markham and takes you all the way throughout the city. And then if you're driving, you have Highway 407, which runs east and west throughout the whole city, throughout the GTA, all the way to Hamilton, Burlington. It is a toll road, so it does get pretty expensive, $15 to $25 per trip, depending on how far you're going. But it is a wide highway. It's nice and relaxed driving. You can go pretty quick from point A to point B if you're going east and west. But again, it is a toll road. And that's just south of Highway 7 is the 407. And then you also have the 404 running north and south all the way downtown Toronto, and then going all the way far north in the province as well. So driving's pretty convenient in Markham, but just like most places in the GTA, if you're trying to drive during rush hour, you're gonna be stuck in traffic. It's gonna be annoying. You do have the HOV lanes, which help a little bit if you're driving with passengers, seen over here, or if you have an electric vehicle, you have a green license plate, which gives you HOV lane access, which is this lane here. You can't drive in that if you are only one person, unless you're in an electric vehicle or if you have more than one person with you. So that's transit, but transit is how you get around. Lifestyle is what decides if you can actually live here over the long term. And that's the section that's coming up next. But just before we get into that, if you're thinking about moving to Markham, if you're having any questions about it, book a free call with me, links in my description, or just reach out directly, send me a text. All my info's on screen right now. Okay, and now if we're talking about lifestyle, I have to start with one of my favorite places in Markham, which is Unionville. And let's take a look at what the main street looks like. So this is Main Street Unionville, and you can see it's just a very picturesque, small town type of feel. You have these really cute older homes all throughout. And there is a main strip as well where they have the Unionville Festival every year. It's one of my favorite places to go, especially in the summer when you can just walk around, and it's just really quaint and picturesque. It's so nice, in fact, that the pilot episode for Gilmore Girls was shot here originally. So obviously they thought it was nice looking enough and quaint enough to film the pilot episode, and you can see why. And honestly, like, the Google Street View doesn't even totally do it justice. You really have to come here to just feel the tranquility and how nice of a community it is with the local shops and restaurants and nature all around. It really is quite beautiful. And just in Unionville here, we also have Too Good Park and Pond. And usually when you end up coming here, you end up going there as well, because it's just this really beautiful, picturesque area. There's always lots of nature and wildlife, and it's just really nice to be able to come here and walk around. There's the pond right there, and you have this loop trail that goes all around the pond. You have pretty convenient parking, although it does get really busy in the summer, especially when they have the Unionville Festival that happens every June. There's always ducks swimming around in the pond, and just a really nice place to be in the summer. And then you also just have all this green space throughout Markham. So this is once again Angus Glen Golf Course, which is beautiful, tons of greenery. We looked at Too Good Pond, and there's just all this green space that runs throughout the city. And then if you want kind of the happening area where a lot of people go to hang out at night, you have this East Beaver Creek area, which is kind of right on the border of Richmond Hill and Markham. But this is where a lot of younger people go. There's a lot of restaurants. There's Moxie's, Lone Star, Scatterbush, Jack Astor's. So there's this area is always really packed, especially on the weekend. And it's a really nice area to just come. There's tons of parking and lots of different restaurants, but this is almost like the downtownish, nightlife style vibe for the Markham area. Doesn't really look like it, but trust me, if you go here on a weekend night or a Friday night, it's really, really busy. And then if you just need to get some shopping done, you have Markville Mall right in Markham as well, by McCowan on Highway 7, and a huge mall where you can do all the shopping that you need. There's some older condo buildings here as well, so you could live there and just walk across. So Walmart, Best Buy, huge parking lot, pretty much everything that you need right here. And along Highway 7 in this area, it is pretty walkable. I used to live just right by Markville Mall for a couple years. Very safe area, like all of Markham is. So it gives you that other option. If you want to go the opposite direction of green space, you could go for concrete indoor mall and still get that shopping experience that you want. So after seeing all that, who is Markham for? Well, if you're a family who wants some of the top-rated schools in all the province, if you want more space, nature, well taken care of community centers and rec centers, if you want to be near one of the best golf courses in the entire world, then Markham is definitely for you. However, there's no direct subway, so you're taking the GO, you're driving a lot, or you're taking the Vivas along Highway 7, which are pretty convenient, but they're not nearly as convenient as being right on the subway line in North York or Toronto. But if you're looking for that going out energy vibe where you can go out, on any night of the week and stay out till 1 or 2 in the morning, you're looking more at downtown Toronto like we're seeing here. Maybe if you're a single young professional, something like that, downtown Toronto might be more your vibe. So now you know whether or not Markham makes sense for you. And if you're still thinking about if it does, or if you have questions about Markham or other areas in the city, reach out to me directly, book a call with my info in the description, or just send me a text. My cell number's on screen right now, or shoot me an email. If this video helped you out at all, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. New Toronto real estate videos every Tuesday and Friday. I'm Jordan Abrams. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around town.